Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today, well, it's pretty laser-focused. We're delivering a strategic analysis, digging deep into the political earthquake, shaking things up in Bihar right now.
That's right.
And this isn't just your usual coalition talk or, standard election maneuvering. We're seeing something fundamental changing in how candidates are picked. It seems driven by, well, cultural clout. We're doing a full analysis of this really dramatic, calculated entry of major celebrity power into the assembly elections coming up.
It's exactly that. Our sources, they're confirming what looks like a strategic masterstroke by one major party. We're talking about the renowned folk and classical singer Maithili Thakur.
Maithili Thakur.
Yeah, she's apparently set to contest the Bihar Assembly elections.
Yeah.
And the ticket, most likely BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Wow.
But look, this is way more than just grabbing a famous face, It seems like a really calculated play, designed to tackle several tricky political problems all at once.
Like what kind of problems?
Well, everything from engaging younger voters to dealing with some pretty serious local anti-incumbency feelings.
Okay, right. So let's unpack this. Let's set our coordinates for this deep dive. The big question, the one we really need to answer, it feels critical. How can these strategic candidate choices, especially ones using huge, almost nonpartisan cultural recognition, how can they be used to navigate these really entrenched, difficult local political challenges?
That's the core of it.
We need to look at the mechanics, the politics, the regional culture, the narrative they're building. This isn't just like a newsflash. It feels more like a lesson in political branding and maybe strategic renewal.
It absolutely is. And, to really get the urgency behind this decision, we have to start with the election timeline. It's tight.
The timing.
Yeah. The chief election commissioner, Ganesh Kumar, he's announced a really packed schedule.
Right. We know the Bihar Assembly elections, they're happening in two phases, November 6th and November 11th.
Uh-huh.
And then the counting, the results, that's all slated for November 14th, so it's quick.
Super quick.
This kind of accelerated pace, it just means every single strategic move, especially a risky one, like fielding a huge celebrity like Maithili Thakur, it has immediate, high-stakes consequences.
Definitely.
The window for campaigning is just so short, that makes immediate name recognition incredibly important, doesn't it?
Paramount. Absolutely paramount. And the decision, it really does seem to be Maithili Thakur. Sources are pretty definitive. She's likely to be fielded as the BJP candidate.
Okay.
So we really need to first establish her profile, because I think for listeners maybe outside the Mithilanchal region, it might be hard to grasp just how influential she is.
Yeah, good point. And this is where, it gets really compelling. She was born, in 2000 in Benapati, Darbhanga. So, incredibly young for politics.
Absolutely. Barely in her 20s.
And her rise was just meteoric. It was all fueled by her music, folk, classical, really tied to the local culture. They're deeply rooted.
Deep roots.
She basically became this huge cultural figure, almost an institution, especially for young people. And the key seemed to be how she mixed traditional art forms with, modern digital platforms, social media savvy.
That combination, tradition meeting digital, that's precisely the key to her strategic value.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond just raw popularity.
How so?
Well, her cultural stature, it was so established, so recognized that the political system had actually already tried to sort of co-opt her influence, though importantly in a nonpartisan way before this.
Okay. So she had a public role already.
Yes. She was officially appointed by the Election Commission of India, the ECI.
The ECI itself. Wow.
Yeah, as a state icon, specifically for voter awareness campaigns.
Okay, that's a crucial distinction we really need to pause on. That's significant.
It is.
She wasn't just famous. She had this powerful, established civic identity linked to the ECI. And you mentioned she was a brand ambassador, too.
That's right. For Madhubani district back during the 2019 Lok Sabha election.
Okay, so this gave her this aura, this image of, neutrality, civic duty, maybe even cultural purity, in a sense.
Exactly. A very clean image.
And now that figure steps directly into the hyper-partisan political arena. The justification for making that leap, strategically, it must be huge.
It has to be.
So what are the political observers saying? What are they identifying as the BJP's main goal in risking this kind of transition, moving her from nonpartisan icon to party candidate.
Well, the observers, they seem pretty unanimous on this. This move, assuming it's confirmed, is seen as a strategic pivot by the BJP. They're trying to fundamentally broaden the party's appeal, specifically targeting younger voters in these assembly polls.
The youth vote.
Yeah, they're looking squarely at the next generation of voters in Bihar. And Maithili Thakur, she speaks their language, literally, with her music, but also culturally.
She connects.
Her influence among that younger demographic, particularly across the whole Mithilanchal region, it's apparently massive. And her entry, it's explicitly intended, people say, to, quote, enthuse young voters.
I mean, I can see the immediate logic there. Capturing the youth demographic, traditional politicians, they often struggle, right, to engage first-time voters who might care about different things, consume media differently.
Exactly. It's a tough nut to crack.
So bringing in someone like Maithili, who's essentially a digital native, a cultural phenomenon, it instantly cuts through all that political noise. Creates a direct channel to that group.
That seems to be the calculation.
But this kind of speculation, it had to start somewhere concrete. How did this move from just, rumor or possibility to near certainty? What were the signals?
It really kicked off with a very high-profile meeting in the capital, Delhi.
Okay.
Maithili, she went accompanied by her father, and they met with some senior BJP heavyweights.
Who are we talking about?
The critical figures were Vinod Tade, he's the BJP's main guy in charge for Bihar, the state in charge, and also Nityanand Rai, who's a union minister of state for home.
Okay, so not low-level people. These are core strategists for the state.
Absolutely not. These are the decision makers.
And what really cemented the strategic nature of this, it seems, was the immediate public signaling afterward.
Precisely. Todd didn't just, share the photo of the meeting privately or let it leak. He broadcast it, put it right out there on X, formerly Twitter.
And he explicitly linked her potential political entry to the party's narrative, right? Something about a changing scenario in Bihar.
Yes, exactly that phrase, changing scenario. When the state strategy chief himself posts the photo with that kind of framing, well, it's not exactly a soft launch, is it?
No, that sounds like a declaration of intent, the public unveiling of, maybe, their central campaign narrative featuring her.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is just how quickly they, weaponized that meeting, politically speaking.
Weaponized.
Well, it wasn't just like a political audition for her. It felt like the formal handshake. The moment cultural power officially met political calculation out in the open.
Okay. But you don't deploy a major cultural asset like her just to win a few youth votes here and there generally. They must be targeting her for a very specific, maybe volatile political situation somewhere.
That's the next layer, yes. We need to zoom in on the geography, the specific seat they have in mind.
Let's do that. We know the expectation is she'll contest from somewhere in Darbhanga district. That's her home area.
Right.
But the sources, they're pointing to one specific seat as the preferred option, aren't they?
Alinagar. Yes.
The selection of Alinagar, that seems to be the most complex piece of this whole strategy.
Why Alinagar?
Well, geographically, yeah, it sits right in the heart of the Mithilanchal region. That's Maithili Thakur's cultural home ground. So that local connection, it's vital. It helps generate that regional pride and support.
Okay, that makes sense. Play to her strengths.
But the choice seems driven less by, say, an easy win and more by the need to solve a pretty major structural political mess that's currently plaguing that specific seat. A political mess.
Okay.
Okay, so we're shifting gears now from the cultural strategy side to, hard political repair work.
That's exactly it.
What exactly is the political volatility in Alinagar that would demand such an, extreme solution?
Yeah.
Fielding a non-politician celebrity seems pretty drastic.
The volatility, it stems directly from the situation with the sitting MLA there, Mishri Lal Yadav.
Okay, Yadav. What happened with him?
Well, he was recently disqualified, got convicted in some criminal case, and sentenced to 2 years.
2 years, okay. So that automatically disqualifies him from the assembly.
Yes, and that leaves the seat vacant, which forces a by-election, or at the very least means they absolutely need a new candidate for the upcoming main assembly polls.
But wait, the complications don't stop there, do they? Because his political history, his party alignment, that was messy too, wasn't it? He wasn't originally BJP.
Precisely. That adds another layer of complexity. Yadav actually won the 2020 election, but not on a BJP ticket. He won it on the ticket of the Vikashil Insane Party, the VIP.
Ah, Mukesh Sahani's party. Right.
Exactly. But then later, he defected. He crossed over to the NDA alliance, which the BJP leads.
So for the BJP's perspective, he was basically an alliance partner's defector who came over, not really a homegrown, loyal party cadre member.
Correct. So his disqualification, yes, it necessitated finding a replacement. But it also sounds like the BJP was quite keen to regain full control and maybe stability in a seat that had been politically turbulent because of him.
Okay, so they were sort of forced to replace a disqualified defector. But the sources, they indicate the dissatisfaction with Yadav. It went deeper than just the conviction that disqualified him, right? There were other issues.
That seems to be the crucial internal calculation here.
Yeah.
The BJP leadership apparently had major internal problems with Yadav's performance. And there were even allegations of anti-party activity while he was the sitting MLA, even after he'd switched allegiance to their side.
Wow. So even though the BJP had held Alinagar successfully twice before him,
Right, they had a history there.
Yadav's recent tenure had just created intense friction inside the party ranks, and maybe local public discontent too.
That's the picture painted by the sources. Yes. Intense internal friction, local dissatisfaction. So simply replacing him with another sort of traditional politician from the local BJP ranks might not have been enough.
Why not? Wouldn't that be the standard play?
It might not have quelled the internal feuding among different factions within the party, and it might not have countered the leftover anti-incumbency feeling that was attached to the seat because of Yadav's tenure.
Okay, so this is where we land. The expert analysis seems to be honing in on this idea of candidate freshness.
Yes.
It sounds less like just selecting a candidate
Yeah.
and more like deploying a strategic, like a reset button for a really contentious, volatile local constituency.
That's a great way to put it, a reset button. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Maithili Thakur is, in many ways, the perfect political antidote for this specific situation.
How so? What makes her the antidote?
Well, think about anti-incumbency. It's usually aimed at incumbents, right? People who've been in power maybe failed to deliver or got caught up in the usual political mudslinging and controversies.
Sure, standard politics.
Maithili, with her background as that ECI icon, her reputation for civic duty, cultural achievement, she carries absolutely none of that political baggage. She offers a completely clean slate.
Okay, a clean slate. But let's push on that mechanism a bit more. Why is a clean slate inherently more valuable here than, say, feeling a loyal, veteran BJP party worker? Someone who knows the local ropes, the political machinations.
That's a fair question. The veteran party worker, while loyal, might also carry the weight of the party's perceived past failures in the area, or they might be associated even indirectly with the whole Mishri Lal Yadav mess.
Ah, okay. They're still part of the system that people might be unhappy with.
Exactly. When you're facing serious internal party disputes and potentially widespread local anti-incumbency, the goal often becomes radical differentiation. You need to signal a real break from the past.
And Maithili allows that break.
Her entry lets the BJP argue something powerful. Look, we're not just replacing a failed politician with another politician. We are fundamentally changing the political tone, the very nature of representation in this constituency. Her non-political status basically disarms the opposition's anti-incumbency critique before they can even fully launch it against her.
And internally, does she help with the party friction?
Potentially, yes. She might satisfy those disgruntled party workers who felt ignored or sidelined by the previous incumbent, Yadav. And at the same time, she instantly captures that youth demographic we talked about and taps into that deep regional Mithilanchal pride.
So it's like a multi-tool.
It really is. It's a very sophisticated strategic package. Designed for damage control in Alinagar, yes, but also for brand revitalization for the party in that specific area.
That frames the Alinagar move perfectly. It's like a micro-strategy executed with national-level branding power. Okay, let's pivot now. Let's look at how the party leadership, specifically Tada, is using her, and particularly her family history, to shape the wider state-level narrative. This goes back to that post on X you mentioned.
Right. The framing Totter used, it's incredibly potent because it takes what could be just a local candidacy decision and elevates it into this statewide commentary on governance, past and present.
And how did he do that? You mentioned he took a dig at RJD.
Yes, the Rashtriya Janata Dal. He explicitly used his post announcing the meeting to connect Maithili's personal family story directly to the political history of Bihar.
And the specific claim, the one that provides the sort of emotional fuel for this narrative, it's that her family had migrated out of Bihar. Right, specifically in 1995.
That's the hook. 1995. That date is absolutely chosen for maximum political impact.
Why 1995? What's the significance?
Well, the mid-1990s, for many voters in Bihar, especially those maybe opposed to the RJD, are deeply associated with the peak of the RJD's dominance under Lalu Prasad Yadav. It's often referred to, sometimes critically, as the Lalu regime.
Okay. And that period carries certain connotations for some people.
For those who oppose that era, yes. The 90s often invoke memories, or at least political narratives, about perceived lawlessness, maybe instability, a lack of economic development. Some critics even called it the jungle Raj.
Right. So by specifically mentioning her family's migration during that period, 1995, Todd is deliberately tapping into that potent, often negative, political memory bank, isn't he?
Absolutely. It's pure political messaging. The implied narrative is stark. Successful families, talented individuals like Mithili's, felt they had to leave the state during that perceived instability of the RJD era.
Okay, so that's part one of the message. What's part two?
Part two is the contrast. Now, the daughter of Bihar, this figure of immense cultural success, she observes a changing scenario in the state. That's Todd's phrase, again implying progress, stability, new opportunities under the current governance.
Under the BJP-led NDA government.
Right. And because of this positive change, she wishes to return home to serve the people of Bihar.
Wow. Analyzing that, it's really a masterclass, isn't it? In how you can leverage a cultural figure to create this deeply emotional political message. It focuses on nostalgia, negative nostalgia for the past, positive framing of the present and the promise of development, progress.
Exactly. It completely bypasses complex policy debates, doesn't it?
Yeah, no talk of GDP figures or infrastructure projects there.
No. Instead, it focuses on this simple, very relatable human story, the return of a successful prodigal daughter. It turns Maithili's candidacy into this powerful statewide metaphor, a metaphor for the success of the current government compared to the perceived failures of the opposition's past rule.
It's incredibly shrewd political communication.
It is. They are effectively saying, look, our governance is so successful, things are so much better now, that even the talented people who felt forced to leave during the bad old days, they're now wanting to come back home. It directly contrasts the RJD's historical focus on social justice rhetoric with a narrative centered on economic progress, opportunity, and restored civic order.
Okay. And what we really have to stress here is that Maithili Thakur, while maybe the most high-profile example right now, she's actually far from an isolated case, isn't she?
Not at all.
She seems to be part of a much clearer strategic pattern. We're seeing multiple celebrity entries in this election cycle. It suggests this recruitment method, using famous non-politicians, is now kind of standard operating procedure for, well, at least some parties or alliances in BR.
That's the critical context to understand. This isn't some bizarre one-off experiment. The sources we're looking at, they highlight another very notable parallel case, the expected entry of Pawan Singh.
Ah, Pawan Singh, the
Yeah.
Bhojpuri superstar, singer-turned-actor. Now, he represents a completely different cultural sphere compared to Maithili Thakur's folk and classical background.
Totally different. He operates in that massive, extremely populist entertainment industry centered around the Bhojpuri language belt.
So where is he expected to contest from? Also in Mithilanchal.
No, and that's key. He's also expected to contest the assembly election, but the speculation is focused on one of the constituencies in the Shahabad region, preferably, sources say, from Ara in Bhojpur district.
Shahabad region. Ara, Bhojpur. Okay, that immediately highlights the geographic and cultural targeting, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It shows the political strategists. They really understand that cultural influence isn't uniform across the state. It's regional. It's tailored.
So Maithili for the maybe more sophisticated traditional cultural landscape of Mithilanchal, and Pawan Singh for the mass market, high energy, popular culture of the Shahabad Bhojpur region. Is that the idea?
That seems to be precisely the strategy. Targeted cultural deployment.
Okay, let's dig into Pawan Singh's recent political context a bit. Because unlike Maithili, who's fresh to this partisan game, he's already dipped his toes in, hasn't he? And his experience wasn't exactly a runaway success.
That's right. His recent political activity, it's been kind of fraught with speculation and maybe some controversy. He very recently had a meeting with Upendra Kushwaha.
Kushwa, the former union minister, now head of the Rashtriya Lok Morcha, an NDA ally.
The very same. That meeting added major fuel to the fire. The speculation that Pawan Singh will contest the assembly polls likely with NDA backing this time.
And why is that meeting particularly interesting beyond just the alliance connection?
Well, it's especially interesting because Pawan Singh just made a very high-profile independent run in the 2024 Lok Sabha election, just a few months ago.
Right, from the Caracat seat. I remember that.
Exactly. And guess who one of his main opponents in Caracat was?
Allow me guess. Upendra Kushwaha.
Bingo. Upendra Kushwaha, who he is now meeting with, presumably to discuss his political future, it just highlights the incredible fluidity of these political alliances and calculations.
Politics makes strange bedfellows indeed. Okay, so how did that Lok Sabha contest actually turn out for Pawan Singh? Because that outcome must provide crucial context for his current assembly ambitions.
Well, he ran as an independent, remember, and ultimately he was unsuccessful. He lost. He ran against Kushwaha, who also lost, actually. But the point is Pawan Singh didn't win.
Right.
And he faced some major challenges during that campaign. There was internal opposition, reportedly even from within parts of the BJP initially, and controversies stemming from his, well, sometimes polarizing public image within the Bhojpuri entertainment industry itself.
So his unsuccessful Lok Sabha bid, what did that demonstrate?
I think it clearly demonstrated that sheer celebrity appeal, even massive Bhojpuri star power, isn't enough on its own to guarantee electoral success. You still need robust party machinery behind you, a focused local strategy, and maybe a message that resonates beyond just your hardcore fan base.
Okay, so if we step back now and we do a sort of comparative analysis between Maithili Thakur and Pawan Singh, the strategic map of how celebrity politics is being played in Bihar, it becomes incredibly clear, doesn't it?
The contrast is stark, and it seems very intentional. Maithili Thakur is positioned as the choice for, let's say, cultural purity, youth outreach, civic responsibility, specifically in the Mithilanchal region.
Right. Her image is built on talent, tradition, that ECI background. She's the sort of uncontroversial, aspirational figure, perfect for capturing educated youth and tapping into that regional pride.
Precisely. Then, by contrast, you have Pawan Singh. He's the choice for, well, populist mass mobilization in the Shahabad-Bhudpur region.
Okay.
His background in Bhojpuri cinema and music gives him this enormous fan following, sure, but his appeal is rooted in that high-octane, sometimes controversial world of regional mass entertainment.
So he's the choice for more aggressive direct voter outreach, focusing on that strong regional identity, especially maybe among rural voters or people who primarily consume popular media.
That appears to be the calculation. It really confirms the deep strategic nature of these deployments. They're not just, randomly hiring famous people because they're famous.
Yeah, it's much more targeted.
Much more. They are deploying specific cultural weapons, if you will, to solve specific regional political puzzles. They're using folk art and classical music to address youth apathy and fix a local problem in Mithilanchal. And they're using mass-market cinema appeal to mobilize the base and project power in Shahabad.
It's absolutely targeted outreach, based on micro-regional cultural identities and probably media consumption habits.
Exactly.
And, crucially, think about this.
Yeah.
Running Maithili, with her squeaky clean, non-controversial ECI background in that volatile Alinagar seat. It almost acts as a strategic counterbalance, doesn't it, to the potentially riskier, more populist approach being taken with someone like Pawan Singh elsewhere.
That's a very sharp point, yes. It allows the overall alliance, the NDA, to present this kind of dual face to the electorate.
A dual face, how so?
Well, one face represents civic duty, tradition, aspiration. That's Maithili. The other face represents mass mobilization, popular connection, maybe a bit more rough and tumble. That's Pawan Singh. It covers more bases.
So Maithili provides the maybe necessary gravitas and the moral high ground?
Yeah.
That whole daughter of Bihar returning narrative?
She anchors that narrative.
While Pawan Singh provides the sheer raw vote-pulling volume in his specific cultural ecosystem.
Exactly. Both elements seem necessary in the strategist's view to navigate a complex, multifaceted state election like Bihar's.
Okay, wow. We've managed to cover a significant amount of ground today in this deep dive. A lot to unpack there.
Indeed.
We started with the calculated entry of Maithili Thakur, moving from this respected cultural icon, even an ECI representative, to a partisan candidate, all signaled by that key meeting with Vinod Tade and Nityanand Rai.
Right. The Delhi meeting was pivotal.
Then we really dug into the specific political calculations needed for the Alinagar seat. It feels like a textbook case, really.
Yeah.
Using a politically fresh, culturally authoritative face like hers to simultaneously tackle anti-incumbency and settle these quite severe internal party disputes that stemmed from that disqualified, defecting MLA Mishri Lawye Yadav.
And we didn't stop just at the local level. We broadened the analysis out to the statewide narrative. We noted how Tade very shrewdly used that daughter of Bihar story.
Yeah, the migration story.
Exactly. Strategically linking her family's migration back in 1995 during the RJD regime to this modern-day story of progress and opportunity under the current governance. It effectively turned what could have been a simple candidate introduction into this historical commentary on the state's success, contrasting past and present.
And finally, we put all this into context. We showed this isn't just a one-off, but part of a major political trend. We drew that clear parallel with Pawan Singh's anticipated candidacy down in the Shahabad region. So what we're really witnessing, it seems, is the systematic deployment of two very distinct cultural levers. You have the folk and classical music appeal with Maithili, and the Bhojpuri mass entertainment appeal with Pawan Singh. And each one seems perfectly tailored to solve very specific geographic and cultural electoral puzzles.
Right. So the final synthesis, the main takeaway, it really emphasizes that this is advanced political mechanics at play. These candidacies, they aren't just about, oh, let's get a famous person.
No, it's much deeper.
Much deeper. It's about micro-level strategy. Using Maithili's specific regional influence in Mithilanchal to overcome a very specific, very messy local challenge like the Alinagar anti-incumbency and internal fights, and using the Pawan Singh brand in Shahabad for maximum populist mobilization in that distinct region.
And it's all aimed at what? Managing internal party politics while also trying to fundamentally shift the broader political narrative, moving it away from local governance failures and towards this grander vision of state transformation.
That seems to be the overarching goal. Control the local issues, reshape the state narrative.
Okay, that brings us then to our final provocative thought. Something for you, the listener, to maybe chew on after we wrap up. We spent some time discussing Maithili Thakur's previous identity, her very public, very nonpartisan role as the Election Commission's own icon for voter awareness, for civic participation.
A role built entirely on trust and political neutrality.
Exactly. An identity built on neutrality. Now, she makes this very deliberate, very high-stakes jump directly into partisan politics as the BJP's chosen candidate in a critical, highly contentious seat like Alinagar.
So the question we're left with, it feels quite profound, actually. What does this necessary transition, this moment where the face of nonpartisan civic duty is arguably sacrificed, or at least transformed, for active partisan political power? What does that reveal? What does it tell us about the intersection of cultural influence and raw political power in contemporary democracy today?
Yeah. Is cultural capital simply becoming the most effective currency for political change now? Even if using it means you have to abandon that valued position of neutrality.
A tough question. Does the end justify the means in this kind of political calculus?
A question, as you say, that resonates far beyond just the borders of Bihar. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
We look forward to exploring the next set of sources with you soon.